G'day guys, it's Graham McDonald here.
And Phil Britton, as always.
And this is the Martial Arts Business Success Podcast, number 95, I believe.
Yeah.
My goodness.
We may be wrong because we've been travelling for 7 days in the bush.
Hey, look, if we're wrong, we're excused. We're in the middle of nowhere. So, but guys, we thought we'd do a special edition simply because we like to challenge ourselves on a regular basis, and we have a bunch of awesome people that we've just shared the last 7 days with out in the remote Kimberleys, almost 200 kilometres out of Kununurra, and probably the third most remote wilderness in the world. So the very first is Antarctica, second one is the Amazon, and number three is the Kimberleys, especially where we are.
Yeah, look, what we're trying to achieve here is two-part trying to achieve. And if you're listening to this right now, if you got to go watch it, because we actually are sitting in a gorge in very remote. So if you're listening because it's a podcast, you've got to watch it. The backdrop is amazing. There's a waterfall going in the background. You'll see Graham and I after 7 days of not shaving. It's pretty crazy, but this is twofold a reason why we do this. One, we're calling it the Entrepreneurs Expedition, because what we're trying to do is take small business owners, entrepreneurs, people who run teams, or even if you're a one-man band and a one-woman band, people who are in the rat race, stuck doing the day-to-day and never get a chance to go within and just take time out and switch off, like we haven't been around technology for 8 days now, 7-8 days.
Yeah.
So it's really, really great, the lessons that we've learned within ourselves, within the team, and we really wanted to share some of those lessons, and that's why we've got a 4-part series, as Graham mentioned, and we're kicking off with this particular topic being...
It's all about the seasons and how things change and anticipating the future, dare I say it, because as a leader, we can't be stuck in the everyday grind. We've got to forecast, and you'll hear us say this often in our podcast, get out of the engine room and steer the ship, and that's where your power is. So we've had a couple of our key managers come with us. So for you guys listening to this, we've got 2 of the owners and 2 of our top managers joining us on this trip. That means they're absent from the business, and they run one of our largest schools of, upwards of 850, 900. So to be able to get out of there, wow, we're not in the engine room, guys, and neither are they. They're on this trip now to start seeing and understanding what's ahead. But I guess first and foremost, Phil, you got to understand, I guess, where you're at.
Yeah.
You got to know where you're at. Now, I know that...
Which sort of means, like, what season are you at?
Pretty much.
What season are you in? And why do we need to know that, Graham?
Look, I think it's one of those things that I liken it to... There's an economic downturn for some of the guys in Australia at the moment. So that means you're kind of in winter. You're in a closed down state where instead of looking at expansion, you've got to look internally and really work on your systems and really work on your way to improve the areas that you can control. Financially, as a country, you can't control that. You can control your own backyard. So this is where internal dialogue, and on this trip, we can't control the environment, we can control what's going on inside ourselves. And that's something that these guys have learned a whole heap. But Phil, what else would you do during that winter cycle, I guess?
Yeah, I guess, I liken it to the bear gathering its, food going into the den for the winter, as we've known before. Not everyone likes winter. Winter is probably, in most people's case, not the most... appealing season to be in. So, people like to rug up, close the door, put the telly on, and all that sort of stuff. And if you think of it in a business sense, that's what we're trying to relate to, is like winter for an animal, winter for us as humans, winter for business is a time for that sort of to take stock. Now, don't get me wrong, it's also a good time to invest. So you should be saving for winter. You should be collecting data and information for winter, and that may be within your own brand, your own business, your own or corporation or organisation, but also might be the time that is best for you to strike and expand, on your next venue purchase or something.
Look, one thing that's really easy to do is invest in your staff at this time, because what comes after winter is spring, that growth stage where everything starts to happen. And I know that within our schools, when we've had a bit of a lull, instead of getting rid of staff, we're looking to hire and develop more staff. Now, you may not be in a position to be able to hire staff. You can certainly start looking for them, because as the economy changes or situations change, everything starts to go into a growth cycle again.
Yep.
Well, guess what? you want to be on the front foot, not on the back foot going, oh my goodness, I wasn't ready for this. So, that's what winter's doing, about planning for that growth stage, which is what happens when we kind of enter into that spring cycle. And something we liken to is that growth phase of your business.
Yeah, I don't know if all the other martial arts businesses are out there like ours across the world, but we run our school almost all year. We only close for 2 weeks over Christmas. And that sort of December, January time is what I would class, even though it's summer, in our country, it's actually the winter in our business. It's the time for us to go, holy moly, we really are struggling for numbers here. What can we do to build more value within our school? And so that's that time where we go, geez, it's not great right now. How can we make it better?
Yeah, for sure. So let's move into the spring. When we're planning or things are starting to grow, understanding that's important because, again, like I just said, you need to be on your front foot. You don't want to be on the back foot. You don't want to be scrambling. So what are some of the things, Phil, that we do in our growth phases to make sure that we can capture and we can understand, and really get the most from that?
From our staff?
From the entire business-based staff.
Yeah.
And also potentially the systems or, again, how we operate to make sure we get the most.
Look, all hands down, that is a great time, December, January, is to take a look at all our syllabus, our curriculum. It's a great chance for, while things are quiet and we are trying to get more numbers coming through the door and keep more retention going because, closing for 2 weeks over Christmas, people are trying to save money and stuff like that, so we want to build more value. So it's a really good time for us to take stock of our systems, e.g. our curriculum, our lesson plans, and anything that's really the operations, the day-to-day. Because, like I said, we've got lots of staff and there's a good chance for them to spend some good amount of time in that area, in our season to be able to go into that area.
Yeah, for sure. I guess what we're going to look at now is we talk about winter, which is preparing and kind of internalizing we've got spring, which is that sort of growth. We haven't quite hit that excessive growth just yet because that comes through when we talk about our summer cycle. In summer in business is when everything's pumping. Okay, when you almost can't put a foot wrong. You've got intros coming out your backside, your staff are flying high, everything's going well. But you know what happens? You've got to understand, for every high, there's a low. And again, like any economic downturn, any cycle, and we're talking about cycles here, everything has a repeat cycle. So
absolutely.
You hear this on the news, housing booms and crashes and all the rest of it,
It's a cycle.
It's all a cycle. And if you can understand that, you can prepare for what's next. Like this terrain, as we've been navigating through here, we've been planning and mapping so we know what's coming up. It's almost like seeing into the future, and as a martial art or as a business owner, if you can understand these trends and cycles, you're almost predicting the future. Within that few months or whatever it may be. So, the summertime is where you really do take that abundance, and you really got to understand you're working really hard, your nose is to the grindstone, and away you go. But now let's hit the autumn stage. Things are starting to slow down. So what should we be doing when we start slowing things down, or, again, we're not at that winter stage, nothing shut down, but it's starting to slow down? What should we be thinking
Even though you've got, summer, that's that time it's booming, you should still be planning for the next season.
Yeah.
And really, the next season is then planning for that winter months as well. So, because it's getting bad, it's going to be tough, it's going to be hard for your business. So you want to really go into, what are my action plans? What are my procedures? What are my marketing tools? What are my systems? What can I do online, offline? All those type of things, so that when winter does come, it's not that bad. I think about this place right now. We've just spent 7 days, and right where we are now is a nice, gentle waterfall behind us. Whereas in the wet season, we would be underwater.
Oh yeah.
The water would be way, way above our heads. And what happens is it devastates the vegetation, it devastates the land. But what we're sitting in here right now is something beautiful because of the wet season, because of the rush of water. There's different fish species that grow, new growth comes within the plants. And the same goes, secondly, when we came down that big mountain, the fire.
Yeah.
The fire rips apart all the trees and the vegetation and, even the animals as well. But from that comes regrowth. You just got to understand, it's not bad, it's just a moment in time that things get a chance to regrow and rebirth, so to speak.
For sure, and I think, Phil, you pretty much hit the nail on the head about forward planning, because I know I've heard of and seen a lot of guys, and we don't do this, but I've heard a lot of guys in the business when things are going good, they're buying all the trinkets, all the bits and pieces, spending money, but they're not putting anything away for the future. And therefore, when you hit a winter cycle or things go slow, They're scrambling, and a lot of guys go out of business because of that. Again, with the economic downturn, it happened like that. It's like a flash winter. Mate, you're gone. Your business could close very, very quickly. So I guess in summary, guys, I know that this is not a direct, I guess, easy way to translate for some people. They're talking about seasons. What the hell? This is a martial arts business podcast. But guys, seriously, when we talk about it, let's recap.
Just have a think about it. Like, everyone's season's different in business. What season are you in right now? And how, out of the 4 seasons, where could you map that out in a calendar year and plan out, like we've said? I guarantee you it will help you with planning for the future.
So let's recap. Spring, what is that? It's about growth, but it's not abundant growth. It's just you're starting to grow. Summer is where it's booming. Everything's flying high. You're ticking all the boxes. Nothing can go wrong. But like every up, it's got to come down. So autumn is where you start understanding, something may be around the corner. Not that I hope for that, but you've got to put things away. And winter's where you may have a slow point, or you just want to consolidate and hold stock, ready for that next growth cycle again.
And just like Graham said, anything can happen. A flood can happen. A fire can happen.
Yeah.
And you've got to prepare. And so even though you've got these ups and downs and these glorious seasons that you're planning for, anything can freaking happen. A fire could rip through, metaphorically. Something really bad in your business could happen. So you want to make sure that we take stock and we plan for the future in case of emergency.
Great. Look, guys, we're going to wrap it up on that one. We've got plenty more really cool stuff coming on the next 3 ones, all about the leadership making decisions. I really guess, survival techniques, dare I say it, for your business, because nowadays you've got to be on the top of your game, and there's a lot of guys that are just kind of simmering and not really reaching their full potential. But as Phil pointed out, and I'm going to throw this in there, guys, this is the thing that we do on a regular basis, and if you want to be part of this is something we're doing with like-minded people. We take them on many different adventures to bring them outside of their comfort zone, but put them in a world where they get to explore, learn, dissect about their business, have an absolute great time, and you know what? They come out of this a changed person, and also their business really thrives.
I'm going to ask you something, Graham, because I know you know the answer, but maybe someone out there is asking or saying to themselves these 2 things. I would love to, but I don't have time, and I don't have enough money.
Wow.
Well, what would you say to that, Graham?
The thing is, guys, you're always not going to have enough time if you make that excuse.
Yep.
And the thing is, you can't not afford to do this, because, again, guys, when you pinch your pennies, you're always going to be in that position. If you invest in yourself and these experiences, you will reap the rewards tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Look, I can't say that enough. We have spent a lot of money doing these great things, and honestly, the 7 or 8 people we have there, the business owners, will equally agree with it's a time and money well spent. And guys, look, we'd love to share this experience with you guys next time.
Don't just say, I can't afford it. Say this instead, how can I afford it? Because when you ask yourself, how can I, you'll look for resources, you'll look for ways. Hey guys, just in finishing, I would really love you to share, like, comment, do whatever you like to do with this, but please give us some feedback. Do you like this style of podcast? If you're listening, watch it. Amazing backdrop, the waterfall's back there. I'm sleeping right here on this bank. I hope the sound of the water doesn't make me want to go to the toilet in the middle of the night when it's freezing cold. But hey, that's what we're living in. So take care, guys. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you on the next 3 episodes.
See you later. Take care.